We trust our smartphones with all our important information nowadays, credit card numbers, our real-time location, and even access to our bank accounts. What many don't know is many of those smartphones are manufactured in foreign countries like China. Is Big Brother watching your every move? ABC 7's Jess Dowdrick has the story.
U.S. intelligence is banning some Chinese cell phone manufacturers out of fear that they're stealing Americans' data. They're calling this a threat to national security. And now Russia is making some of the new iPhone X's. Is this something consumers like you should be worried about? Cyber warfare is everywhere. Now attacks are targeting the devices you constantly carry in your pocket.
Routinely find things in whether it's cell phones or packages, software packages that are developed in other countries that look like they were put there by someone. The hard part's always proving who put it there.
The Pentagon recently banning Chinese-made phones. Huawei Technologies and ZTE Corporation in and near all U.S. military-based stores. These companies making several Android phones. The fear being the Chinese government could order Chinese manufacturers to hack into products and spy on the American government and military.
So it is difficult to prove, and if we did, we probably wouldn't come out publicly with it.
Danny Firstman calls cyber warfare the Wild West, especially when it comes to mobile devices.
If you're a defense contractor, or frankly, if you're just a civilian who works in the government or works with private government data, you're using your cell phone's been manufactured in China, and then someone in China might have remote access to things that are going on there. They could be things like just, what you're doing, who you're talking to, your location. That's a big one for military services. So if your government phone shows that, you're in a certain part of whether it's the Middle East or wherever you're operating, that's compromised information. So all of that is a potential concern.
The government is certainly worried about privacy. Should you be?
I would say that there's a lot of reason to be concerned.
Cyber Ninja CEO Doug Logan says there have been other devices shipped from China that are compromised. So he feels there's no reason it would be any different with a phone.
Where iOS and Apple devices tend to force updates, and so you have the latest and greatest software running on a device, and therefore it's more secure. Your Android devices often don't get frequent updates and can have very old operating systems on them, and therefore once things are discovered, those are more likely to be compromised.
Logan says China is just as interested in intellectual property, like a business plan or lawsuit, as they are with the military. So you may be more interesting to them than you'd think.
Anytime you don't pay very much for a phone, and especially if you're paying less than what the hardware is worth, then someone is making money somewhere. And a lot of these very, very cheap, typically on Android phones that you can pick up for 25 or 50 bucks, there have been some of them that have been known to be shipped with malware on them.
Another cybersecurity expert, Silent CTO Serge Jorgensen, says the privacy risk to your standard consumer is probably minimal because he feels that most Americans don't have the information that foreign countries would be interested in.
Consumers that have sensitive positions or handle sensitive data, it might be a larger concern for them.
Jorgensen says the bigger security threat is the apps consumers are putting on their phones.
Attackers frequently will load known bad applications, applications with malware and malicious software already embedded in them, into an app store, into the Android store or Apple store, and just wait for consumers to download those games or those applications and gain access to phones that way.
Through an app, attackers can get access to anything you give them access to, like photos, your locations, or contacts. So choose your applications carefully.
One of the things that consumers can do is, if you're done using an app, then you can certainly delete it from your phone. And you can also periodically go through your phone and see which apps are using which services, and then trying to limit those apps to the minimal services that you would expect them to need. Periodic house cleaning, spring cleaning for your phone is just as good as spring cleaning for your house.
And of course, do some research on any app before downloading it. When it comes to purchasing phones from overseas,
make sure that you keep your software up to date. So if you have an update available from your carrier for your device, whether that's Android or whether that's Apple's iOS, to apply that update as soon as possible.
If a free app or a cheap cell phone seems too good to be true, it probably is. Now, if your cell phone has been compromised, your phone will start running significantly slower and web pages will probably start to pop up for sites that you've never been to. If that happens, you should reset your phone completely. Jess Dowdrick, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.